Hello, I'm out on the Washington coast, almost near the most northwest tip of Washington. Actually, you can see the most northwest tip over there. That's Canada. Actually, no, Canada is past that tip. Where you can see the very last bit of land is the most northwest part of the United States. And then Canada is behind the cloud bank that's farther over there. I was camping just near the tree line, and I heard the waves all night. It is a very, very low tide right now, and these rocks are exposed. Last night, these rocks were covered in waves. And these rocks are actually really interesting. They've got these striations, and they're kind of like diagonally oriented. I wonder what makes them like that. Well, we're gonna go check out what's exposed with the very, very low tide. Yesterday, I came out here in the evening during the low tide last night, but it wasn't as low as right now. So we'll go see what kind of creatures are out. Because there's a lot of living creatures out here. I decided to come out here with bare feet, and I'm not sure that was a good idea. There's a lot of rocks. But it'll be an adventure. I just have to be careful where I step. Well, I was thinking about what's it mean to be alive? I know I'm alive. I am sure of it. But how am I sure of it? I sure feel like I'm alive. I can breathe. I can see this beautiful sunset. I can see the mist blowing over these waves. I can see, I can feel sand and water underneath my feet. I can see seaweed. I can smell the salt in the air. I can smell some. Well, actually, right now I can just smell just clean air coming from the forest behind me because it's blowing from the forest. It smells really good. I can see reflections in the water pools. I can see the wind causing these very small ripples in the water. I can feel cold sand, and I'm about to step through a puddle. But let's look at some creatures in the water. There were some that were just like darting. I'm with Whiskey Rye. He called them sand chargers, I think is what he called them. Here we go. There's some like hermit crabs and stuff in here. Okay, here we go. Whew. Oh, not as cold as I thought. It is still kind of cold. Yeah, I can feel myself shiver. Woo! These are some. Oh, I walked by a cave. we'll walk back a little bit through the cold water. I can hear the water sloshing. I think I'm alive. And the other thing about being alive is I've got choice. Here's a cave. I went in there yesterday, but with shoes on. I felt like I was in the womb again. Or the bowels of the earth. It's kind of cool. Also kind of scary too at the same time. Well, scary, I don't know if it was scary, but I was a little concerned about rocks falling on me and getting stuck in there. It might have been just an irrational fear. I guess that's another part of being alive. Feeling fear. Also, having irrational thoughts. Having thoughts in general. There's these ridges on the sand, and it kind of hurts to walk on. So I feel some pain. Not much. I give it like a 2 out of 10. No, 1 out of 10. It's just a little bothersome. Okay, let's see. So the other part of being alive is I got choice. I can choose what I'm going to do. I could choose to stand here and not say another word for like the next 10 minutes. But I'm not going to do that because I choose to keep walking around and look at stuff. I know that there were some starfish yesterday. Starfish. Or sea stars. I'm not sure if they mean the same thing. But we're going to go look at them. We're going to go find them. This is like a treasure hunt in the morning. It is 6 o'clock in the morning. And I am barefoot on the earth. Here's a sea anemone. Anemone. With its greenish tentacles, stinging tentacles. I don't want to step on that with my feet. There's a sea star. A nice big fat orange one. If you're listening to this on a podcast, the arms of the starfish are like the size of, altogether, it's about a foot across, like wider than my hand. And each arm is like putting your middle 3 fingers together. It's like really thick. I was there yesterday, so it didn't move very much, as far as I can tell. This rock is covered in life forms. There are mussels and barnacles and algae, seaweed. 2 different kinds of seaweed. 3 kinds. There's this kind of greenish one, kind of like hairy looking brown one, and then like a salad looking kind of dark brown one. I can hear the barnacles like clicking or something. Here, I'm going to put the microphone to them. There's like some kind of clicking that's going on with the barnacles. They look kind of weird too. They look like a basket with like a mouth and a beak, bird's beak mouth in it. It's kind of weird looking. All right, we're gonna find some more sea stars. And I'm gonna tell you a story about sea stars or starfish. I should have looked up which ones they're called. Actually, probably doesn't really matter. What's a name matter? Here's a big purple Big purple one. That's a Shakespeare thing. I really like Shakespeare. Shakespeare is really interesting writer. What's in a name? That which we call a rose, which by any other name would smell as sweet. I think that's how it goes. What's in a name? That which we call a rose by any other name would smell as sweet. So is a starfish name or a sea star name really that important? I'm looking at it. Whether I have the name right or wrong doesn't really matter. You're looking at it too. Or I'm telling you about it if you're listening to it on a podcast. They're not really moving. They don't move. But, oh, look, I can see some tracks of some kind of creature in the sand that was moving. Probably a hermit crab. Okay, these mussels or barnacles are definitely clicking. There's like all these like they're alive. They're alive like I am. Let's see if we can see these sea stars. Oh, there's the suckers on a sea star. I don't see them moving. That one is a giant one. Oh my gosh. And a whole bunch of anemones, like countless in it. Wow, these sea stars are clicking. These barnacles are clicking a lot. Okay, this is as far as I got yesterday because the tide was down to here, but it didn't go much. It didn't go farther than this. So this is all new to me. It's fun to see. Oh, you can see all these crabs. Look at these crabs. We're on a nature adventure in the tide pools. Here, Oh, I scared that one. I'm alive. I can do stuff. I don't really want to scare crabs, but my actions affect other creatures in the universe. My energy affects other energy. Whoa, look at these arches here. This was underwater yesterday. I gotta be careful because the tide is coming in and it moves pretty quick. So we're gonna go pretty quick. Well, that Shakespeare quote is from Romeo and Juliet. Because they were talking about how one's a Capulet and one's a I forget the name of the other house that either Romeo or Juliet's from. I don't remember. But they're star-crossed lovers. They're not meant to be fallen in love because they're from feuding families. And then so they say, well, what's in a name? Or Romeo says it or something. Maybe Juliet, I don't remember. Well, that's yeah. Shakespeare had a really cool understanding of life. Wow, I'm underneath this arch. Here we go. Look, I choose to walk through this rock arch. How cool is that? I'm alive. My actions affect the universe. Maybe I am the universe. Maybe you are the universe. Maybe our consciousness is what makes up everything. Here's a bird coming. The red beak, orange beak. Oh, this sea star has 6 arms. Those have 5. How did this one get 6? Ah, that's another part of being alive. Wonderment and mystery. I do not know everything about the universe, even though I might be the universe. You might be the universe. Our consciousness might be the universe. I don't know everything, but maybe I do. Maybe we all do. Maybe we just think we don't know everything. But when I was listening to the telepathy tapes, I found it very interesting that some autistic children can seems like they access universal knowledge. Like they can speak in languages that they were never exposed to. Like they can start saying poems and singing songs in like Arabic or Indonesian or something, and not with AI. They just like literally are singing it. How does that happen? It's mysteries of life. Where does knowledge come from? Where does all this energy come from? Energy can neither be created nor destroyed, but it can just be transferred or changed. Well, I have energy in me, and I am alive right now, and I am talking to the camera, which will talk to you. This camera is going to store some of my energy, and some of my energy will be transferred and changed into the internet. And then you are seeing some of my energy. And good morning.
Pretty magical.
It sure is.
Have you been here before?
Not this far. No, this is first time camping out here, but yesterday the tide didn't go down this low. So yeah. Have you been out here before?
Uh-huh.
That's a really cool place.
It's pretty amazing. There's some sweet caves. You can get out a little bit further.
Oh, okay.
The water's like in the cave.
Oh, cool. Oh, all right. Good luck.
Are you around tomorrow morning?
No, it'll probably be lower tide tomorrow, huh?
Oh yeah, Tuesday I think is the lowest.
Amazing.
Yeah.
Well, enjoy.
Okay.
Well, I don't have shoes on, so I can't go that way. But that guy was saying that there's some really cool caves with waves going in them. But I don't want to get my feet cut up. Because even though my consciousness and your consciousness may be part of the same universal consciousness, right now my consciousness is somewhat confined and bound to this human body that I'm living in. It's another part of being alive. I have the sense that I am part of a body, and I sense some mortality in my body, at least. I sense that I can die, but I can also live. Okay, the tide is coming in, and we're gonna just walk in the water, because that's what I choose to do as a human being named Gooby. Well, the name really is not that important, as we discussed. I'm gonna bring the microphone a little closer because of the wave sounds. Wow. Beautiful. Very cold. Very cold. There's wow, look at the waves here. I have to watch out. There are jellyfish here. Pretty big ones too. Like dinner plate size jellyfish. Pretty waves. The water is like an ice bath. It is very cold. But so pretty. There is a Indian philosophical text or religious text. I think is kind of maybe both. Ashtavakra Gita. I probably butchered the pronunciation. Shatavakra Gita. I think I got it right that time. And that says that all of consciousness and being is like the foams and bubbles and waves. That all the matter and forms in life and energy and all the things that we see in the world are really just like the foam and bubbles and waves. But it all comes from the ocean. It all comes from the same water. All the bubbles and waves and foam, they're all water. They're all coming from the same ocean. Well, you and I come from the same ocean. And we come from the same ocean as the sea stars. And the barnacles that click. And the hermit crabs that get scared if I walk in the water. And the seabirds that are looking for some food. It's very strange to be seemingly confined to a human body. But I don't think that who we actually are, our consciousness, is actually really confined to the human body. We just kind of have this like illusion that we are. Like when we die, what happens to our consciousness? I don't think our consciousness dies. I think that energy, it just changes or is transferred. Or maybe it persists in some way. Maybe when I die, the gooby energy persists somehow in the universe. Well, if the internet is still up when I die, some of my energy will be preserved in the internet and in the minds of people who watch my video and remember my video. That's pretty cool. So, in some way, my energy persists. But even if there wasn't internet and nobody knew who I was, I think my energy still persists. I don't think it requires somebody knowing who you are or remembering you. I think that energy persists. Like the sea star with six legs. I didn't know about it until just today. But I think even if nobody knew about it, its energy would persist after it died in some form. Because no energy is created or destroyed. Now, this is kind of cool. I'm looking at the reflection of the clouds in the sand. It's almost like a shaped mirror. It's got these beautiful patterns in the sand. And beautiful ripples of water moving back to the ocean. Oh, I forgot to tell you the story about the sea stars. There was a scientist who conducted an experiment actually very close to here. So if you look just past the cliff over there, behind that is another beach called, I think, Macaw Bay. And a scientist did an experiment where he removed the sea stars from that ecosystem. If you ask me if that was a good experiment to do, I would say no. That's kind of being a dick. You know, you're just like going in and you're evicting someone from their home. And for all the other creatures that live there, you're evicting their neighbors. Like, why? How is that a good idea? Well, I don't think it's a good idea, but it was done. And what he saw was actually pretty interesting. Again, I wouldn't have done it in the first place, but it's already done, so might as well talk about what was learned from that. What was learned from that is that sea stars are are keystone species in the ecosystem here, and if you remove them, the whole ecosystem gets out of whack and collapses on itself, because the sea stars are predators for, I don't remember what. I don't remember if it's sea urchins or some kind of other animal, and then that animal overgrew, like reproduced in huge amounts, because they no longer had the predation from the sea stars or starfish. And then that animal, I think, like ate a bunch of plants and like ate them, and then something about like the predators that ate starfish starved, and then so the predators above them starved, and then this whole ecosystem, just the biodiversity just plummeted. But it doesn't happen with every creature. But some are called keystone species because they're so critical to the balance of the whole ecosystem. Well, excuse me. There are lots of keystone species in the world, and a lot of them are going extinct because, well, the Earth is changing very quickly. A lot of it has to do with human choices and human activity. Yeah, well, that's my story about keystone species, starfish. Well, I'm alive, and I have choice. I have choice. Oh, some people say, "Oh, Goopy, you just have an illusion of choice. You don't actually have choice." Well, I made a video talking about that, and even if I have the illusion of choice and maybe I don't actually really have choice, I'm still going to choose, even if it's just an illusion. But I don't think it's an illusion. There are I don't know too much about this. I mean, this requires somebody who actually studied philosophy and like quantum mechanics. But I mean, there's probabilistic outcomes in the universe. There's something called like wave collapse, like Schrodinger's cat, and there's people that are way smarter than me that can talk about that. I mean, I think that there is choice, and I think that it directs us into different universes. But that's just my hunch, my uneducated guess about how life works. And really, I don't know if anyone really knows how life works in that regard. So that's all right. Well, that's how I choose to live. Even if that choice may be an illusion, but I don't think it is. Well, we all have choice, I think. You have a choice to watch this video. You have a choice to listen to this podcast. You have a choice to look at this beautiful scenery. I'm standing in some fresh water flowing to the ocean at low tide. There's some trees on those islands. The clouds are really pretty too. The sun is somewhere behind those clouds. It's a gorgeous morning. Well, the other thing about feelings is that I actually had a dream about this last night, as I was camping here. Feelings just kind of pass through us. Well, I guess everything passes through. All the energy from the universe passes through, and the energy that we transmit also passes through the universe. So there's a Buddhist thing about not being attached, like giving up attachments. And I think my dream was about that. I dreamt that different kinds of weird people were trying to like transmit their energy to me. There was like kind of like an alien looking person with like humongous black pupils trying to transmit something to me, and I just let it pass through, or it didn't really affect me, it just passed through me, and they were shocked. And then there's some other person that had like some kind of communicable disease, like some infectious disease, and they were trying to transmit it to me, and I just let it pass through, or it just didn't like, it didn't affect me. And it was like I was just like feeling that like my consciousness was like coming from a much deeper well than the energy that they could transmit to me. The energy just like just goes through. It doesn't stay. But I think that's kind of like a Buddhist thing about not being attached. I'm not going to be attached to the feelings, the energy. I just observe it, let it pass through me. I'm not going to be attached to being alive, to being Gooby, because I think that I'm just temporarily in this body as this life form. But I will die, and my energy will transform and change, and some will persist, I think, as a Gooby. As some kind of form of Gooby, but not attached to Gooby, just like an echo. Oh, yeah. A good example is, maybe we're going to go back, and this will be the end of the video. Here's a good one. We're going to go back, and we're going to see something pretty cool. And then I gotta go back to the campsite because I see Whiskey Rye taking his tent down, and I gotta take my tent down, and we gotta head back home. But there's something that we saw yesterday. I want to share with you, and I'm not sure it's gonna work. Okay, here we go. Okay, I think this is a good example of being alive as a human being. Well, as any creature, whether you're a starfish or a hermit crab or a seabird or a seal. There's seals over here. We tried to find some gray whales, but we didn't see any. Okay. When I walk on this beautiful sand, my feet create a footprint. So, let's see here. Can you see my feet? Okay. Now, as I walk back, as I walk backwards, my footprints very quickly disappear. If I walked over here, maybe my footprints will last a little bit longer. Let's go over here. It's kind of cool because the sand looks like a mirror. You can see the sky above. Okay, here's my foot. And as I lift up, you can kind of make out where my foot was. And we're just gonna go backwards here. Now, I'm just gonna slowly step backwards. And we're gonna look at the footprints in the mirror of the sky, because the sand has some water in it. I'm just slowly stepping backwards. Now, the farther I go, the more time has passed since I stepped in those different areas, and the more my footsteps disappear, until it was like I was never there before. But there's still a little impression in the sand. There's some water. You can't really, the first footsteps, you can't really tell were like a human foot, but something was there. And as more time passes, you wouldn't be able to tell that Gooby was there. But some of my energy left an imprint there. Some of that sand is slightly less than, slightly depressed compared, or lower, not depressed, because that has a different connotation. Some of that sand is at a lower elevation than the other sand. But, oh, I think I actually stepped on a jellyfish. Or there's something alive right there underneath the sand. I didn't step on a jellyfish. Well, that's I think life. As we go, we leave our impression on the universe, and that impression gradually fades. But some is left behind, just a little bit, and that energy is transformed into something else. I think that's how it works. But how do I know? How do I know anything? And I'm walking backwards with a camera. That's not a good idea. I'm gonna walk this way. Okay. I see Whiskey Rye stirring and walking around, so I'm gonna go back and take down my campsite. Well, that was a nice morning stroll. I'm glad that I can share that with you. And I'm glad to experience life with you and with all the other creatures here. Like all these trees, they're alive. Well, I think I'll end with a nice view of these rocks with the trees on them at low tide. Beautiful waves. The mirror sand with some seabirds. The cliffs. The mist blowing back over the ocean. And a beautiful sunrise behind the clouds.